Okay, so I'm having a few battles this morning. Bear with me, or this evening, wherever we're joining from. But anyway, I think many people here know the schedule of what we're doing. Anyway, I'm Vanessa from Envision, and thank you for joining us the week after CSUN. So that is our theme for today. We have joining me on this webinar live is Bagia from our team, who heads up our business development. We have Anat, who's a consultant and working with Envision and a number of companies in the space, who's also going to be sharing her views on the event. And Furkan, as you know, product manager at Envision, giving us what's new and under the hood. So again, welcome to joining us today. We will have our usual Q&A session at the end, so please keep your questions until then if you can, and we will be looking at those. So we are trying to record this on YouTube. I'm having some troubles on that, so it will be a truncated version, but so it is live. We will be offering the chance, as I say, to join either by raising your hand or putting a question in the Q&A if you are in the Zoom today. And what I will do is I will invite some people. If you've raised your hand, I will unmute you and invite you to ask your questions as well. But you can also send them in the Q&A session. And if you're joining us on YouTube, it will be in the chat function. I've got some shortcuts here that might be useful. To unmute yourself, you can use the option Y on Mac, sorry, and on Windows, that's the Alt plus Y. And use those just to unmute yourself if you need to do that. So without further ado, I am going to jump right in here and invite Anat and Bagia to join me to have a little chat about CSUN. So welcome both of you to today. I know we only saw each other a matter of days ago, but you're both on the other side of the pond to me now. And it's been quite a lot, right, to take in with what we've been doing on at CSUN, and so much to digest. So for those who couldn't make it, and that I know you've done some wonderful reviews. You did a great one at CES on LinkedIn, and thanks for that. I'd love your views. You know, what were the kind of top 3 trends you saw? I have some ideas, but I'd love yours first.
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here with all of you. This is my 7th CSUN, I believe. So I've been
yeah,
and it was the largest CSUN since 2019, since pre-pandemic. So it was great to see all this hustle and bustle and excitement. I think it was the largest CSUN in terms of attendees, but also in terms of exhibitors. And there was a lot of new technology, and there were a lot of old timers, and you guys are old timers at this point.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of new and exciting things to offer. So I'll let you, Vanessa, talk about what Envision has new for its users. But some of the things that I've noticed at CSUN is a few years ago, if you went to CSUN, so most of the technology was focused on reading, OCR, optical character recognition, a little bit of interpretation of environment, sort of pre-AI. And about 2 years ago, AI started to become a buzz, and it really culminated this year was a lot of different companies using it for different applications. So one of the trends that I'm seeing is this boom in navigation and obstacle avoidance technologies. So there were companies like WeWalk, which is a smart cane, BiPad and Strap and Aura by StrapTech, which are wearable kind of harnesses that help with navigation. There was a robotics company called Glidance, was the product that's called Glide, which is like a little robot that helps you navigate. And I even saw a really cool product out of Japan. It's not available yet, but it's basically a little insert you put in your shoe, and it vibrates and it helps you navigate. It connects to an app and helps you navigate in the right direction. So that was very, very exciting. So those were kind of the biggest exciting things. And there are also some wearable devices that starting to use AI. A lot of them are first generations, so it's just the beginning. I think a lot of this will remain to be seen of where they're heading in the future.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's great. You say it's funny, about us being established. I felt that too. When my first CSUN was only 3 years ago. I'm a novice in comparison, right? And last year, we think about the big news that came out with, we were just putting a concept out there for an Envision, as well, the AI function that we've got now is well established on both the glasses and the app, right? The Ask Envision. So we had that as a sort of concept, and we're having great fun reading menus and blown away that we could ask, for veggie options on the menu in the Infused restaurant in the Marriott where we're all based. I remember that, and of course, Be My Eyes announcing their Be My AI. And if you think about where we are now, and that is commonplace, I mean, it's everyone has now this AI aspect to their business. And if they haven't, they're kind of lagging, to be honest. And what you said was really interesting, because that I saw this new generation of companies, and I didn't get around enough to talk to people. That's always, we're busy on the stand, but there was that great company that is putting auto-generated scene descriptions onto small scale videos, so like YouTube videos, social media videos. I mean, I've forgotten the name. Maybe you spoke to them.
Yeah,
Fantastic company.
I can jump in here.
Yeah.
Hey guys, that was Audible Site. Yeah, I
Audible
think
site, that's it.
I
Yeah,
just
they
love
fantastic,
their
right?
concept as well.
Yeah, we'll put links to all these. And in fact, what we'll, just for those watching live on our YouTube link, which we'll share afterwards everywhere, in our emails and social media, but we'll put in links to these companies, because I think it's really important that you can have a check it out yourself. And also, we're going to be posting up some blog posts from CSUN as well. And I think in that you're working on one as well. So we'll include a link in that for that. But great segue. Hi, B. How are you? How's San Francisco?
It's nice. It's beautiful here. But yeah, it's been kind of a super busy couple of weeks for us in the best way. It's funny that you say it, right? So Anat is at this point a certified veteran of CSUN. If you call yourself a novice at 3 years, then I am just straight up an infant, because this was my first. But yeah, I think I can just resonate what you just said as well, which is that we went in with a team of nearly 10 people, expecting us to have we had this plan, okay, we don't want to have too many people on the booth. We want the space for the booth attendees, and we were planning on having people walking around, but that plan kind of went out the window after a while, just because we had such a consistent footfall of attendees, which was, I mean, honestly, the best part about it, just being able to kind of get those reactions from people who are also hearing about us or seeing the technology for the first time. And from a trends perspective, I think it didn't feel like a tech fair, like that. I feel like in the past years, where we were still recovering from COVID, things were still a bit slow, but this one really had the full gamut of companies, right? We had the smaller, newer startups kind of showing their early stage, first generation technology. You had companies like ourselves who had now been around for a few years and become somewhat of a mainstay at the conference. And then you had the big names like the Amazons and the Salesforces as well, who had also invested quite a bit to be at the conference, which is very good for us to see from the industry as well, is because you see the industry is also supporting their accessibility technology as well. So I think that was one thing that was really heartening for me, just to see that everybody was back and it felt like a real tech conference. And to go in line with what Anat mentioned with the newer technologies, we also had a number of really interesting conference sessions happening, right? The Karthik's hosted a session on kind of how AI is shaping the landscape for accessibility. We had a full gamut of conference sessions, stuff on education, on how to make graphics more accessible. But at the same time, there was also things for us from the companies and the products perspective, things that you don't necessarily always hear about or see about, like accessibility conformance reporting, things like the VPAT 508, which is a self-reporting scheme that's meant for accessibility of website and apps. They seem quite niche, but like these are things that are necessary for companies like Envision to be able to really expand our own reach. And it was really nice to see that the conference made the time for those kind of sessions as well. And I think if anybody's interested, I'll throw out the link for this year's conference sessions so they can see what those sessions were like, because there was quite a few. The biggest shame was that, there were so many that were overlapping that you just couldn't go for most of them at the same time.
Yeah. I think on the side there, I think the CSUN team are missing a trick by not providing some of this stuff online, even with a small fee, right? But that's another discussion. But yeah, it was really interesting. And then we have CSUN TV, right? And I marked a couple of sessions there around AI that would have been interesting. And I did get to listen to the keynote though, which actually blew my mind and was just beautiful. It was fantastic. And I think I'm so glad you got time to go to some of those things. And of course, there was networking as well. I mean, Annette, what was the best night out you had in CSUN? Not to come back to anything trivial, but the networking is important, right?
I think for me, networking is the best part of it, right? You get to see colleagues and friends that you sometimes see once a year. Some of them, like you, Vanessa, overseas, so we don't get a lot of opportunity face-to-face time. So for me, that's always the best part. I think CSUN tried to create some of the opportunities for networking. And also some companies, large companies have their own parties. On one of the nights, CSUN organized karaoke night, which was really great. I don't sing personally, but I still went there to talk to friends. And just it was buzzing, like it was everywhere you went, there were opportunities in the exhibit hall, in the hallway, in the hotel bar. The conference really encourages that networking and collaboration. And in fact, you and I, Vanessa, we met the first time at CSUN.
I know. I couldn't speak, my voice had gone, and you looked after me, put me in the sunshine and showed me that there was Californian sun out there. I will be forever grateful. Exactly. And that, I think, the fun part of the industry, and I think we all love that part too. And I think also one of the things that I was told by the organization as well, there's two conference halls and there's always one that's bigger than the other. And we tend to be in the smaller one because we feel people can actually get more quieter time with us because we're audibly, it's important for people can actually hear what the glasses are saying and when they have a demo. But we were right next to the Sony booth, which was demonstrating their accessible gaming, and it was loud. And then they had those cute little accessible dogs and things. So I think guide dogs were feeling sort of there was some very much a technical thing on the dog side and navigation. I'll give you that. But they also told me that room was fuller, and it did feel fuller. There was definitely more booths. So I think this year there was definitely more exhibitors. As in terms of people attending, not all our distributors from North America attended that did the year before, if I understand rightly, but there were international partners there from the Netherlands, from other parts of Europe, from Australia. It was just really great. Really, really great. And I also heard that there was more people who were blind or low vision attending as well. So that's fantastic. And I loved it that there was also a lot of representation for people who are deaf and low hearing as well. And interpretation was apparently very accessible there. There was a booth where you could go up and get information for everything, and including a booth where you could just go and get an interpreter and various kinds of interpreters as well, which is really, really inclusive. Was really nice. B, what was your favorite conference session then, or a piece that was done without being the Karthik ones, that is? Sorry, did I make that harder?
Yeah, because to be honest, I think it was one of the Karthik ones just because of the session that was hosted with Mike May. Kind
Oh,
of,
yeah.
yeah, but actually, let me change that because, like you said, it's the Karthik, right? We do like we hear their opinions quite a lot. There was a really nice panel on AI and accessibility. It was called the AI and Accessibility: The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh,
This
yeah. I
was
heard about that. Mhm.
it was a panel session with a few team members from Yahoo, from the Vispero team, and some legal experts as well, really going over this topic of AI and accessibility, right? Because AI was kind of the core topic of CSUN this year.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of AI is that it's enabling creativity, right? Where otherwise we were kind of still, as an industry, trying to get the core technologies down. Now, kind of the ability of LLMs and agents have just opened that up so that you necessarily don't need to have this incredibly big tech team behind you to be able to do things like that. Like
Mm.
Audible Site is a great example of that,
Yeah.
right? That's two gentlemen kind of retired, doing this as a passion project. And that's really what you want to see with the industry. Like for consumers, it's the best thing. And this particular session really dived into all aspects of it. Because when it comes to AI, there's privacy, there's hallucinations, there's accuracy, and particularly when we're talking about aspects like navigation and obstacle avoidance using AI, the factors of liability are also important things to consider. I really do wish that CSUN TV had recorded some of these sessions and posted them on YouTube for the audiences to watch.
Yeah, the CSUN TV did post some of the sessions last year for catch up.
And
But it was a bit, yeah,
have
so let's
all
hope that they do.
recorded.
Yeah, yeah.
So hopefully they will. But yeah, I think if I had to pick a favorite one, just because it was so relative to the topic of AI at CSUN, it was very insightful, kind of understanding how the different perspectives from a tech company at Yahoo, Vispero as kind of this massive like omnipresent entity
Yeah.
within that space, and then legal experts looking at the legal implications of some of the applications of it. So yeah, I think from a session standpoint, that one I think would take the pick for
Yeah,
me.
I really hope that they make that available anyway. So brilliant, brilliant. Well, before we get Furkan to join us, thank you both so much for your insights. Please do put them down in blogs and things, and we'll keep sharing because I know what it's like. I'm a complete zombie of, jet lag and decompressing from everything, but we'll work on that together. So thank you so much for sharing your insights. Um, hang around. There might be some questions for you when we open up the floor in a little while. But before that, I mean, just before I pass over to Furkan, and Envision was there, so it would be remiss of me not to tell you what we actually were doing there. So, we were, of course, giving everybody the opportunity to try out the glasses when they may not have had the chance before, or certainly since last year, because the rate of innovation and development is insane if I look back on it, right? And so that was the main part, also to obviously meet with our partners and distributors and connect with some of the newer innovators and our friends as well. But what we were also doing, we were kind of showing people our sort of concept idea for a personal assistant type service, which we're building out slowly now, or actually rather fast, but with a group of beta testers. Now, I'm going to hand over to Furkan in a second to talk about that. But we had so much fun with that. We had so much fun with that, and what's so fun about this is that it's all about being, we say CPU in the company, right? We talk about it being conversational, we talk about it being personable, we talk about it being ubiquitous, but it really is about personalization and making the access to information, truly relevant and as seamless as possible. So I'm now going to ask Furkan to join us. And Furk, welcome. How are you?
Hello, hello. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I think today's the first day I'm without jet lag, so I'm slightly, hopefully
Nice.
making a bit more sense, even if I can't work the tech. Yeah, thank you for getting YouTube up and running just now. That's great.
No, no
Yeah,
worries.
never let the visually impaired try and use this when I'm under pressure. I can do it normally, but I'm under pressure. But thanks for that. So yeah, so you're going to go under the hood for us and give us a little bit of an update. Maybe prior to that, could you tell us about this kind of personal assistant concepts and what are we doing with these poor beta testers?
Well, a lot of testing, a lot of feedback, us
Yeah.
begging for feedback and asking for very honest feedback. So if people don't like it, please tell us. No, but it's been great. Like we set up a separate Slack channel, and I'll talk more about that later.
Mhm.
Shall I first start with a video for
Yeah,
the
do
Envision Assistant? I'll share
yeah, could
that.
you introduce yes, sir, because some people might know him really well, and I'm not even sure if he's managed to join us today, but maybe introduce him and how we know him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll share a video which is about 4 minutes from Jesse, who was also at CSUN, who's also involved a lot here in the Netherlands with Envision, but in general also with accessibility, anything. He's the king when it comes to that. And I think he's also going to introduce himself in the video, but he'll give you a quick overview of what the Envision Assistant is capable of, and he does that at CSUN. So it's about 4 minutes. Grab a popcorn or coffee, whatever you like, and let me share it right now.
Okay, we can't hear it right now.
Wait. Oh, that is not good. Of course, it did work like 10 minutes ago, and now it doesn't. Let me share it again, because I'm not hearing it either. Okay, sharing it again. Hmm. Can you hear it?
No.
That is not good. Let me try one more time. That is weird. Why it's not working? Oh, I'm going to try it one more time to share the video that I have on my laptop here. If that doesn't work, I'll try the YouTube link. If that also doesn't work, then after this
Well, folks will
webinar,
just
we
have to
owe
take our
you a
word for
link.
it. No, we can't hear it, Furkan,
Yeah,
sorry.
there's something I think wrong with the video somehow. So I think I'll try it one more time just to share the YouTube video. Yeah, let me try it right now. If that doesn't work, then there's something wrong. Yeah.
There is
No,
still down for con.
This
it's just buffering, I think.
you can't hear it either?
No, it's just very crunchy on my side. So I think what we can do is share this link afterwards.
Yeah, I'll do that indeed. Well, it doesn't work, unfortunately.
Oh.
But as I said before as well before this video started, so after this webinar, you still have something to watch. But it's Jesse was using the Envision Assistant at CSUN, and I think for people who don't know anything about the Envision Assistant, or they're like, "Hey, wait, what are you talking about?" So the Envision Assistant is a new app we're building. It's totally still in private beta, but more about that a bit later. And what it does is it's like a personal, ubiquitous assistant that can help you with any kind of tasks, whether it's visual or, but you want to know what the capital of the Netherlands is, for instance. And with this personal assistant, it's a separate app, so it's very easy. You point your camera at something, you tap on a button, and you ask it a question. In the video, you see ask a question about, I think, the Amazon booth. And the great thing about this Envision assistant is that you have an assistant that you can also personalize. So in two ways, you first kind of give your own personal information. So let's say if I'm a flexitarian, I'm 29 years old, I like books, for instance, I can all put that in the AI and it will understand that. So whenever I take a photo of a hamburger, it might suggest and say, hey, keep in mind that it might be meat. So are you really sure that you want to eat that today as a flexitarian, for instance? But anything like that, you can totally personalize it, which is really helpful. And then the second thing is that you can also personalize or kind of customize the whole agent, the assistant that you have. And I think that is the whole fun part is where you can tell the assistant to be like a British person who's like a butler or like anything that you can think of, like a magician who's like 80 years old and gives you answers in a certain way that you think is much more nicer and fun to listen to when you ask for certain recipes when you
So like
want to cook again at home.
your favorite game character or your
Exactly,
just
exactly.
favorite alter ego maybe.
Definitely. And I think that has been the most fun thing where a lot of people now even talk about like, hey, how do you call your assistant? What did you give your assistant? What kind of characteristics did you give your assistant? And I think that has been really interesting. I think Kartik Kannan, the co-founder, once said that he gave the assistant now and then also use like French words in between, and it really gives a really fun twist to using this assistant anywhere. And the other part is ubiquitous, which means we're trying to make sure that this is available everywhere. So it's not just on your phone, but it can be on your laptop, on glasses, on wearables, on anything that is around you, any device that you own. This Envision Assistant will be there. And about the Envision Assistant, one important thing is to, if you're interested in it, of course, is to make sure to go to I have to check the link, and I think we'll also share that link later, is to beta dash, we'll have to check the link again. That's beta dash envision.assistant.com.
Great.
Am I saying that correctly? I'm just double checking it. I don't know, my internet is a bit slow today.
Don't worry, we've got multiple windows open going on here, but it has been really fun. I've been a bit sort of careful with my assistant. I might start actually trying out different things, and it is, great to see this idea of people sharing, ideas around it. And I mean, it goes without saying, this is built first and foremost for people who are blind and low vision, right? Because it's fun for everybody, right? But it's taking our knowledge of what we do for our community and going the next level. Sort of important to. Yeah, I actually have a question here. I know we're coming to Q&A in a minute, but I thought it was really relevant. I just thought we'd answer that quickly here. I'm just going to take a quick look. Sorry, yeah, this is from Jose, and he's asking, is this assistant going to be similar to Siri? And is it will the business be similar to Siri and TalkBack?
It's not really similar to Siri because with Siri, the thing is with Siri, you can't really personalize it. But in a way where you can ask questions and you get a reply back, it's the same. But I don't know about most people, but for me, Siri only works if I tell it, give me a timer for 10 minutes, those very simple tasks. But with this, the assistant is much greater in that. Like you can ask it so many more creative things than what you can do with Siri. So in a way, yes, but in a way also definitely not with the personality that you can add to the Envision Assistant.
Yeah.
And I think I have to get back to the link. So it is the other way around. It's so if people are interested, I do have to mention very explicitly, it's still in a private beta. So even if you sign up to become a beta tester, we are slowly getting people on board, but it might be that you're not in the list yet. Because we're slowly onboarding people and really getting all of the feedback. But whoever is really interested and says, hey, wait, I'm hearing about this Envision Assistant everywhere, you can sign up on beta.envision-assistant.com. So once again, beta.envision-assistant.com. When you sign up there's a few questions you have to answer. If you sign up, we'll get them all there. And we'll let you know and email you when you'll be accepted as a beta tester for the Envision Assistant.
Okay, brilliant. And anything else going on while we've been away? Without
Definitely. So that was about the Envision Assistant, but we still have, of course, the Envision app. Also on the Envision app side, we're working very close on the Ask Envision about images. So the Ask Envision about text inside the reader, it's also now coming to images. So instead of just asking questions about text, soon you'll be able to take a photo with the Envision app and ask it questions afterwards. So you have the whole chat interface, whether you want to type your question or ask it a question with your voice. It's both possible. So that is for the Envision app. On the Envision glasses in the back end, we're of course busy all the time with improving a lot of things. One of the things that will come is an improved language selection. I know that a lot of people probably also in this chat asked, whenever I switch between the languages, it sometimes takes a little bit of time. So we've improved that a little bit. We also keep on adding new languages to the Envision glasses. And besides that, in general, when it comes to the whole AI and the computer vision team, we are working on the table detection and an improved layout detection. So those are things that we're still very hard working on to really improve the reading of both the Envision app and the Envision glasses when it comes to reading any kind of text. We do have the layout detection. The table detection has been asked for quite a lot as well, and we're working on that. Unfortunately, I can't say when that will come, but hopefully very soon.
Super, that's great. And just as a reminder for people, because we've been, I always caveat how frequently you do updates. I get asked a lot. I'm sure you get asked even more than me, right? So we say, but if I looked at last year, it worked out roughly 12 updates in a year, and some were closer to the other. At the moment, with all this AI, it's crazy, right? There's just so much going on. But there was an update fairly recently with some additional languages added. So what are the latest languages? Is it Bulgarian?
I think, Bulgarian, and I think we added for Hebrew, I think as well.
That's right. Yeah. So that was over the last couple of months, but it's worth checking out. And I think we're well over our 60 language list. I've lost track actually, but it's worth playing around with that. Brilliant. Well, thanks for all the update. That's fantastic. And I think from Envision's side, one thing I will also put in the notes, because I didn't get my slides on in time, but we're going to be attending a lot of events coming up in both the US and Europe, and our partners and distributors in other parts of the world are also attending on our behalf. So I will share that. For those in the Netherlands, we have the CSUN happening fairly shortly. We'll be there with our partners Sensitech, and we'll also have our own booth at the Site Tech Global event that's happening in Frankfurt as well. So that's all busy this spring. And then in the US, I know Anat, you and the team are going to be on the road for quite a few events. So keep tuned to our social channels and to our emails and newsletters. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, please do. If you're on it already, thank you for reading them. Hopefully they are good to read. If they're not, let me know. But we'll be putting some information. And if you're in the area, that would be great. Please pop by and meet the team. So without further ado, I'm mindful of the time. We are coming up to 1/4 to the hour, which is perfect, believe it or not, for getting some questions and answers in. So as I said, we've already had some questions in, so forgive me, because again, I am now back in the controls here, which is quite scary. And we did have a couple of questions here. So I think, first of all, and Zach, you're very, very welcome. Zach thanking us for all this useful information. So thank you, Zach, you're very welcome. I see a couple of raised hands from folks in our community. I see quite a few, actually. We've got 4 here right now. So let me just ask Hector Hernandez to join us. So I'm going to allow you to talk now, Hector. So please go ahead. Oh.
Hector is still
Hello?
muted.
Hello?
Hello, Hector. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for bearing with me and my poor tech management here.
That's
Where
fine.
are you calling us from today? Because I'm fascinated where everybody comes from.
Ohio. I'm from the United States.
Oh, nice, nice. Great. Well, thank you for calling. What's your question for us?
I just want to say I'm really excited about what Envision is doing.
Thank you.
I've been a big fan of it. I mean, I've been using it ever since for a couple years now.
Oh, brilliant. Is that the app or the glasses, Hector?
I use the app a lot. I use the app a lot more.
Okay.
I rely on it a lot more though. It's great, and I'm so
Fantastic.
excited. I'm so excited for the assistant when it comes out.
Super. Well, listen, as I say, I'll drop the links into our recording on YouTube, and we'll pop those in our communities and wherever we can. And please sign up. It would be great. And please say in the notes there that you're an Envision app user, because that's fantastic information for FreeCam to have. Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us today. Yeah, I don't know if you had any other questions for us.
I do.
Go ahead.
Will this assistant, when it comes out, is it going to be free to use?
Yeah, I think we're still working that one out. I mean, I feel it's what we're doing is that we've got an idea for this assistant, but it could go in a number of directions. And so, we only will build this with our community, and we will rely on our community, people like yourself, to tell us what it's worth. And as head of marketing, I absolutely believe that that's the right approach. We know that we will bring it to our glasses customers and to our community as well. Whether that will be as a standalone app or integrated into our app, we don't know yet, is the honest answer. It really also depends on what it would cost us to run this, because with all this AI, there's a price point, but it's also more what is the unique value proposition of this compared to other tools that are maybe out there as well. It's so fast with AI, things keep changing. But it's a great question. Believe me, it is the first question on my mind as well. And we will make it very, very clear when we get to a decision on that, Hector. So stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a pleasure, and have a great day in Ohio, sorry. And thanks for tuning in. So that's great.
Glad to be here.
Okay, take care. I'm going to unmute you now. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to go to another guest. I see we've got even more hands jumping up here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's be quick. I'm actually going to ask Greta Wareham to join us. She was the first person to put her hand up, actually. So I'm just going to do that now. Greta, can you hear us? Here we are. If you can unmute yourself, then go ahead. Nope. You're open to talk now, Greta, if you want to. Okay, now then maybe I can just just message me if you'd like to ask a question there, Greta. Yeah, I think your hand may be up by accident there, I'm not sure. I've got Joshua Newman here. Joshua, I have asked you to unmute yourself. That's funny. Last time I could do this.
Hello.
But anyway, hey, how you doing?
I have a feedback to the Ask Envision feature first in the Envision app, and
Okay.
this is very cool. Yeah, it is very cool and very useful. Yeah, very cool. It's
Great. And which you're using the Ask Envision for when you've scanned a document, right? And then asking questions on it?
yes, this is right. And
Brilliant. Yeah.
the next question is, when comes the Be My Eyes function at the next versions of the Envision glasses?
Very good question, which I can't answer, unfortunately. I would love to. I would love to say that. I think Be My Eyes are busy with their own things at the moment. We had conversations with them, Bill. We've been talking to them all the time, of course. You know, they've taken a OneDrive directory, which is really supporting their engagement with organizations. And, you know, they launched, I think, a directory around CSUN as well. So, you know, we're very open to working with them and to bring them onto the glasses, but I can't say at the moment if we have any more discussions with that. I think Furkan, unless something happened while we were at CSUN, I don't think there's been any more firm discussions with Be My Eyes at the moment.
No,
And the
unfortunately
last
not.
question is, when comes the function describe images on documents on the Envision glasses?
I'm passing that one right over to Furkan. He's absolutely the right person to answer that.
So there's the Ask Envision for the images, which is on the describe scene. That is coming very soon. Again, I don't want to say by end of next week, because you never know with when we release put a new production release, but it's coming very soon. If you're talking about images inside of a document, so that's a
Yeah.
separate question. I would say that is something we're still working on. So that is not going to come very soon, but it is something we're working on. What I mentioned when I said about the table detection and layout detection, also being able to recognize images in a document. That is still something that we're working on every day.
Can I ask easily, or must I write descriptions with a seeing assistant in the Envision app? For example, this is a image of Heintje. He is, then the age. He have gray hairs. So in German, German description. I come from Germany, and yes.
Mm-hmm. I think you mean with the if I'm correct, you mean with the scene description, whether it will give a detailed description. Is that correct? And that you can then ask it a question with describe scene.
Okay, then I wish you, the Envision team, very happy Easter days.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
Joshua.
Joshua.
That's great. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
and
very sweet of you.
make a cool party with Jesus in the head, and Amen.
No, thank
Amen. We
you.
will do that.
Thank you, Joshua. That's very good. I've got my family all visiting from the UK here, so
Amen.
yeah, it's great. But thank you. Thank you so much, Joshua. Keep in touch.
Yes.
Brilliant. I have some written questions here, which are going into questions around some of the technical stuff. So again, Furkan, I'm just going to throw this one at you here from Charles Anderson. And Charles, I hope I get your question right. He says, will there be a change in the AI app to make it more like a traditional LLM, where it does not require a picture first for input? Sounds a bit like our assistant, doesn't it? Furkan?
I'm sorry. Was it
Yeah, I'll repeat it. I'll repeat the
You
question.
froze
It
a bit,
says,
sorry. Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. This is from Charles Anderson. It says, will there be a change in the AI app to make it more like a traditional LLM, AI large language model, where it does not require a picture first for input?
And are we talking about the Envision Assistant or the Envision app here?
In the app,
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
the
AI
AI
app.
app.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think yeah, so that is something we're still working on. I think when it comes to the Envision Assistant right now, it also does not require a photo. So there's two options in the Envision Assistant. Whether you can ask it immediately, like you can take a photo and ask a question about the photo, but actually there's another button which says start with voice, and that is basically not using any input of voice. So you can then ask it, what is the capital of the Netherlands? What is this? What does it mean if someone is flexitarian? What is a vegetarian, etc. So any kind of question that doesn't require input of a photo, that those are also questions you can ask by clicking on the button calling starting with voice. And following on that is that we're also working on combining those. So I don't know when this will be, but in the very future, you will be able to just click on one button. And then when you ask it a question, let's say, who's the person on the left from me? It will understand that it has to take a photo and then tell you who's the person left of you. But if you ask it a question such as, what is the capital of this country? Then it understands, okay, I don't need to take a photo for this because it just asks a very simple question about a capital. So that is also the future where you don't really have to choose between I want to take a photo, I want to do this. And that is also where the future lays and why we built this Envision Assistant, but also still keep the Envision app, because we also know that if you're going to make such a big change, the Envision app is still great when it comes to reading documents and very clearly using the Ask Envision feature in that, and we don't want to change that. But the Envision Assistant is really something that we're building, and that's why it's still in beta and being tested a lot, is what if we combine all of those features and kind of try, let's see if the AI can understand us even better by combining all of the features.
Okay. That's I hope a good answer, because I've got another one here that I'm also from Jim Hamilton. Hi Jim, how you doing? Good to hear you that you're on the call. And he said here about 6 months ago, Kartik mentioned that in one of these webinars that he expected the Explorer feature to be able to use the AI function in real time. In other words, we would get AI feedback as we were walking around. At that time, he said he thought it would be happening in 6 to 8 months from then. So what's the expectation about having AI from moving to the Explorer feature for real-time detection and so on? It's a great question, actually, because we were picking up on some of that at CSUN, where we were using the Explore feature, and we were using instant text, for instance, as we moved around. But it's a good question from Jim. Ferkan, is there anything you can answer to that?
Mute myself. Yeah, I think with these kind of things, it's always very difficult to predict how long it's going to take until we're there. This is also something we're really working on actually in the back end to see, okay, what is possible. The challenge does get, it is a challenge where we have to think about how much information do we give, and is that too much or too less? What we're now really working on is indeed that the whole idea of having a very detailed description. And we're now talking to a lot of testers to know, okay, what if you want a very short description when you're walking around? What is the most important thing? Because when you're outside, maybe there are different things that is very important as to when you're walking your own home, there are different things that are important. So that is a little bit the challenge. And the second thing is, of course, because it requires internet, is how fast can it take a photo and get all of those information back. So I hope it answers your question, but the expectation, what you're asking for, that's very difficult for me to answer right now.
I'm sure Jim can be patient. I hope so. But it was really, it was something that I must admit, I can't wait. I can't wait for the fact that we do that. And it's this hankering for, one hands-free wearable device, right, that can give us all that information, including, the orientation. And it can to some extent, but it's as you move like a constant stream. And I think, you know, with our product, we're in the best position to do that, quite frankly. So no pressure or anything, Perkan. Brilliant.
Mhm.
Okay, so there are loads and loads of other questions. I'm just checking the time because I think we're coming up to a few minutes past the hour. There's a few people here, Frekan, asking for the link for signing up for the beta. Again, we'll pop that in under the YouTube live stream for this. And we will do a follow-up email because I think this webinar is particularly information rich to everyone who registered, right? So even if, you know, people are catching up later, what we'll do is I'll send a little email out with all the links and links also to the blog post that I know Annette and team are working on about CSUN. So you can catch up there, and that gives us a little bit of time. Bear with us. We'll probably need a few days to gather everything together, but next week certainly we'll do a little follow-up and then we can include the link in there. Right, I'm just going to do one more quick sweep of the hands in the air because I'm really sorry, guys. It's I've got too many. Oh no, this is really awful. So let me see. I'm just going to go and do a bit of a random one here. Who came in last week? Yeah, okay. So I've got Jimmy Lewis Swan. Great name. Jimmy, I'm hopefully giving you access to speak. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, how are y'all?
How are you? Where are you calling from, Jimmy?
I'm calling from Wichita, Kansas.
Kansas. What a great accent. I love that accent. It's brilliant. I might use that on my vision assistant, actually. Wonderful. Jimmy, what's your question?
Do you guys know if on the glasses there eventually will be a way for either like in the probably in the explore mode where if you have a face programmed, like if your face was programmed and you were in front of the glasses and the camera could see you and you turned left at the end of the hallway, if it would say Vanessa turned left at the intersecting hallway.
Ooh, I like that. Well, I know it can recognize faces, but actually that contextual information, well, I don't see why not. But again, yeah, because if you do describe scene and somebody's turning, let's say I'm turning left and you reckon, you know, you program my face in, you know, save faces, then it would recognize me. But yes, the actual directional side, interesting. Frikan. Do you think it's feasible to do that?
I think with where
Great
the
question.
visual GPT is coming right now, so the whole describe scene, the Ask Envision, where you ask questions about images, that is becoming much better and better. If you would ask me like 6 months ago, I would say like, yeah, it's going to be difficult. But I think because it's moving so fast so quickly, these things are possible. The only thing is, of course, again, the implementation. So then you will maybe need to ask every time someone does this, tell me what way do they turn, and then that every time you take a photo, it only tells you of that person, that they do this or they do that. So it's kind of like an advanced kind of assistant, and this is something we're working on, and also why we're gathering so much feedback. And these are the kind of scenarios we're looking for exactly, as in like what are the situations where you want to do something, and it's very specific information about an image. And again, I hope this will come very soon, that we can kind of give these custom questions and get all of this information.
Exactly. Well, we'll add that one to the list. I've got a load for you as well,
Definitely.
actually. I just like to know, you know, kind of a load of things. But brilliant. Listen, thank you so much, Jimmy. That's thanks for jumping on. Did you have any other questions for us? Because you're the last, I'm afraid, today, because we are running close to the top of the hour now.
No other questions, but I wanted to give some positive feedback. I got the Envision Assistant AI set up yesterday, and I've been using it and killed my phone battery using it. So
Oh yeah, I was about to say, be
keep it
careful
going.
with your phone battery and the beta. It's something that we noticed at the show as well. So brilliant. Good, Jimmy. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. That's a pleasure. Great. Well, I am going to call it a wrap for now because we are actually 2 minutes past the hour. But I really want to just thank everybody for joining us today, our lovely guests who joined us, and all of you that took the time and effort to listen in. And if you're listening on demand as well, that's also fantastic. Thank you. And we will be then sending that email out very shortly with, you know, some of these great links and information. We'll put them in the YouTube recording as well. So if you go to our webinar recording on the YouTube, just have a look in the comments and we'll add it in there. And then, yeah, wish you all a fantastic rest of the week, I guess, and a happy Easter for those who celebrate it and for any other celebrations. And we will be back next month, again, the last Thursday in the month. And we'll share some information on that as well once we've got our agenda together. But thanks, everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
day.